Is Chuck Kubler a political kangaroo? And other ramblings from County Commission hopefuls. The question before you, the reader, today is this: is Chuck Kubler a political kangaroo? The conservative Pelican seems to think so. After all, on one question regarding the proper role of government, Mr. Kubler was talking about the importance of the Constitution, and yet he wants to raise student tuition to pay for a $164 million bond referendum for building construction at Cape Fear Community College. But that's not all, folks. Mr. Kubler also wants to implement a 1% sales tax on top of the current 7% rate to pay for a New Hanover County Public Schools bond referendum that is set to begin implementation in 2015 if approved by voters in this November's election. Now let me pose this question to you also. Does this man seem like a Republican to you? The conservative Pelican doesn't seem to think so either. Please do not, I repeat, do not vote for Chuck Kubler for county commissioner, unless, of course, you like higher taxes. The star of this county commissioner candidates forum was John Dismukes. I knew John was going to have a great night as soon as he read his opening statements. Mr. Dismukes was talked about his spirit of service as a precinct chairman for the New Hanover County Republican Party, and how he always gives rides to residents in his precincts who want to vote but lack the appropriate transportation means to get to the polling place. John also told the healthy size audience of 120 people that he signed the Americans for Tax Reform no tax increase pledge. And that evening, he was the only candidate who opposed the New Hanover County Public Schools bond referendum. The conservative Pelican wants to applaud Mr. Dismukes for taking such a bold yet correct position on the NHC schools bond referendum, because after all, we already have the North Carolina Education Lottery in this state. So if the local schools need more revenue, the logical thing to do would be to expand gambling across the state with the construction of casinos, because we already have one casino in Cherokee, North Carolina, which is way over in the western part of the state. And yet, the NCGOP, who opposes gambling in their platform, is going to have their annual convention in guess where? Guess where? Cherokee, that's right. On the topic of film incentives, probably the biggest issue facing Wilmington and New Hanover County right now is the film industry. From about 1985 until 2000, the Wilmington film industry was thriving. And in the 1990s, Wilmington was the second fastest growing city in the nation, behind only Las Vegas. However, Canada began implementing film incentives in the late 90s, and slowly but surely, with the exception of One Tree Hill, there were no TV shows or movies being filmed in the Cape Fear region during the first decade of the 21st century. Fortunately, North Carolina got the memo a few years late to implement incentives, because Georgia, South Carolina, and Louisiana quickly went to work after Canada implemented theirs, and projects like Safe Haven and Under the Dome came to the Wilmington area. Generally, most Republicans oppose incentives because our party, I say our because I'm a registered Republican, believes in individual freedom. In other words, more money in the pockets of taxpaying citizens and not the government giving away money to private corporations like film companies. However, the job market in Wilmington is very poor. Unless you're a doctor or a lawyer and can sell a ton of real estate, one can't make a decent living here on just low-paying retail and restaurant jobs. So that is why none of the candidates running for county commission oppose film incentives. Now, candidate Skip Watkins, who makes a living as a financial advisor, said he was neutral on the issue, though, and that a detailed cost-benefit analysis would have to be completed. Candidates Frank Roberts and the conservative Pelicans' latest and greatest pooping target, Chuck Kubler, both openly admitted at the March 6, 2014 forum that they openly support all incentives. Another candidate, Dr. Derek Hickey, mentioned that while he supports film incentives, he does not support the government picking winners and losers, because with incentives, some businesses pay taxes while others don't. Plus, Dr. Hickey explained film incentives are a state issue, and tax money is being taken away from other cities in North Carolina to support film projects in Wilmington. Well said, gentlemen. The conservative Pelican wanted to take this opportunity to thank candidates Campbell Dodd and Hank Thomas for mentioning that they are both against the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority. I can't tell you how many times I've driven around Wilmington and have had to sit in traffic congestion while the CFPUA is working on a sewer line. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad they're taking care of our sewer infrastructure, but North Carolina has the highest gas tax in the Southeast, and it's among the top 10 in the nation. Surely it wouldn't kill the CFPUA's bottom line to buy some lights and do the work at night. I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank John Dismukes for mentioning his support of charter schools and being a strong advocate of school choice. If the GOP has any hope of becoming the majority party at the federal level again, they need to articulate this viewpoint to all voters, regardless of their ethnicity or skin color. Comic relief. Candidate Ricky Meeks kept the audience loose and full of laughter with his remarks of asking Raycom Media, aka WECT TV, if they could provide any money to pay off the 2008 Cape Fear Community College bond referendum. In addition, when asked about whether or not he supports film incentives, Meeks stated, "I support the News 811. The last word. Lower Cape Fear Republican women President Carolyn Justice closed out the county commissioner candidate forum by stating that in 2008, when the Cape Fear Community College bond referendum was voted on, that people knew ahead of time that there was going to be a tax increase involved somewhere down the road. For Time Machine, I'm Bobby Crawford. Good night.